Estamos con Brian Gleason, director de Exceptional Marriage en la ciudad de Nueva York, profesor y terapeuta en corenergética en varios institutos del mundo y autor de 3 libros relacionados con el trabajo corporal, la espiritualidad y las relaciones. Brian, thanks for giving us some chance to have an exchange, a talk.
Welcome. Nice to be here.
So, first question, Brian. You have written and you talk about embodiment. What do we understand by embodiment, and what can be the difference with another concept we usually use in bodywork, grounding?
Good question. I like to think of embodiment as the combination of what we consider mindfulness or consciousness. John Parakis spoke about the twin propellers of energy and consciousness. Mm-hmm. And I think embodiment is when those two come together. Okay. So in other words, you can be expressing a lot of energy, but have no consciousness.
Okay.
And so if I was angry at you, for instance, I might punch you.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
There'd be no consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have the consciousness, I might say, I'm angry at Jorge, but hold back the feelings of the urge to punch.
Mm-hmm.
So you might look at embodiment as the capacity to say, I'm angry and I need to express it. I need to release it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the mindfulness and the physiological expression.
Okay. And the slight difference with grounding as we use sometimes?
Well, it's in many ways it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that the slight difference might be that grounding, normally we think about grounding as kind of bringing ourselves grounded to the earth, like an electrical current is grounded to the earth. The human energy field is grounded to the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's much of what we want in embodiment. But the emphasis in embodiment is on the full somatic expression of the inner experience.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And why it is, from your point of view, it is important to work with embodiment in the psychotherapeutic place, with clients and...
Well, I think it's of crucial importance.
Okay.
And because as most of our cultures have a tendency to what I would describe as just use the analytical mind, the thought process, to think through the problems that we experience as human beings. Thinking alone is not adequate enough. I would even say mindfulness, which has been profoundly important to all of us in our own personal evolution and in the work we do, is necessary but not totally sufficient to allow us to heal. And so when we're working with clients, the mindful awareness is way better than just talking about or thinking about. It's the noticing and the attention to. But the ability to get that client to be able to reclaim their experience. Mm-hmm. And particularly when we're talking these days about all of the new information coming out, all of the prevailing information around neuroscience and trauma, what we're noticing is that the emphasis is really shifting to the release of the trauma, the release of the held energy in the body. Mm-hmm. And again, Reich and Lowen and Parakis talked about this at great lengths, how the body holds back the need to release the organic energy from whatever uncomfortable, traumatic, painful experiences we've had earlier in life. So just the insight alone is not nearly enough. We need to be able to allow people to cry, to laugh. We use a lot of equipment to get people to move that energy so that the body actually restores itself to a homeostasis.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It was very explicit. And last question: can you suggest us a intervention, kind of simple intervention with which we can help our clients to embody whatever experience is going on?
Well, the simplest thing we can do, Jorge, is for us to pay attention ourselves, somatically, energetically, to what the other is experiencing. And from that place, one simple suggestion that I think we can apply all the time, I like to refer to it as amplifying, but it's essentially exaggerating whatever's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you see in somebody that you're working with, that looks like there's some inner experience happening,
mm-hmm.
invite them to make it bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Invite them. So if their brow is furrowed, you might have them furrow their brow more. If you feel their respiration is short, you might ask them to just
contract
it, yeah, and exaggerate that. Anything. If it looks like they're sad, ask them to make the sadness bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And the three keys there are work with sound,
okay,
breath,
okay,
and movement.
Okay.
So those three things together, if you invite a bigger energy, and I would say that even though we use the term exaggerate, actually what's happening is we're under-expressing when we feel something. So we're really inviting them to find the right level of expression, though they will experience it as exaggerating it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Brian, for your time with us. Thank you very much. Gracias y estaremos en contacto en una próxima entrevista, plática con algún invitado. Gracias.